Hi there, and welcome to another video about the Flexible Atlassian Setup. In this video, we are going to look at issue types and issue type schema for our setup. So let's dive in and start configuring. So before we start, let's just recap on what we are going to do in this video. So what we're going to do is we're going to define the issue types that we're going to use in the Flexible Atlassian Setup. And for this purpose, I have created a Confluence page with the issue types that we're going to use. And issue types that I have created in the Confluence space is the ones that we're going to use for Jira Software. We are going to do another video when we set up the issue types for Jira Service Management, and since those are a little bit different. So for now, we are just going to use the issue types that we have in this list here. There's one exception here, and that is the master incident. That one will be in the Jira Service Management. I just created it ahead of time because I needed it for the actual setup. So let's move over first to Jira, and I have created a demo project for this. We're going to jump in there. And just to reiterate what we are going to do for the Atlassian setup, or the Flexible Atlassian setup, is we go to Summary. So for this demo project, we are going to configure the issue types. We're going to set up a specific set of workflows that we're going to use. We're going to define the screens, what data will actually be in the screens. We're going to define custom fields. And we will define the roles that we will have in the project so we can easily work with it. We're going to set up a new permission scheme, and we're going to do a specific notification scheme so we can control what information goes in and out. But for now, in this video, we are going to look at just the issue types. And as you can see here, I have an issue type schema, and that one is already configured with some issue types. So we're going to make a new scheme that we're going to attach to this project. And we can either go this way and click here and then go through the different screens here. And then we will end up in the admin section. But I prefer to do the other way around. So I prefer to go to the admin settings directly. So what you do is you go to admin and you go to issues. And in the issues section, you will see that you have issue types on your left. And we have 4 different pages where we can configure things. So the issue type hierarchy, this will allow you to define levels above the Epic if you have the premium version. In this case, I have already renamed my Epic to feature, so we are not going to do much here until we get to the stage where we will look at the advanced roadmap and also big picture. But for now, there's nothing here for us to configure. Issue types is where we're going to create the different issue types. And issue type schemes is basically the container, the configuration that you attach to a project. And that one tells the project what issue types should it use. And also it can allow you to configure what the default issue type will be. And it also shows you the order that they will be presented. You also have a specific page for what kind of subtask when you go down to the subtask level. So you can manage those specifically. But we're going to start with issue types. And we are going to create these issues that we have here. So as you can see, Epic feature, I already have that one here. And I also already have the story created down here. So the first one we're going to do is the front-end development. And front-end development is the work order. In this setup, maybe I should start why we have the issue types. The reason why we have story to begin with is that it's a legacy issue type. And there will still be people that are more comfortable using story, especially if they work in an agile way. so we have that one. But the flow is that you will have the requirements in Confluence, and they will be written in a user story way. And from each user story, we will then create work orders. So there's really no point of having a story on a story, because we already have the story in Confluence. So what we instead will do is each user story will have a front-end development, a back-end development, building configure, design, and so on. And that will be the actual work orders. So the front-end development will be the work order for front-end development. So to add new issue types, we just click Add New Issue Types. We will refer to it as front-end development. And then we can write a description for it. Work order, maybe we should have space. And we want that as a standard issue type. You can also make these subtasks if you want to have them in the story, if that works for you. I usually don't do that, but if you are working or you're familiar with the way of working with stories, so you have story on story, and that is the way it makes sense to you, then you can create these as subtasks instead. But in the standard setup, we're going to use this as a standard issue type. And all you have to do is click Add, and the issue has been created. And it will show down here, and it usually have this little gray icon. And we don't want that one. We want to make sure it's clearly visible as a front-end development task. So we will then go back here and click the three dots, and we will go to Edit. And here we can now change the name, we can change the description, and we can also select a different issue type, avatar, so the image that will be shown in your list. So click here, and you have the default ones that you can select, but we're going to upload a new one. So new avatar, and I already have my predefined. So as you can see, I have my front-end code here. So we'll just open that one. I will make the full selection and confirm. Then we have the icon. And it looks very small and tiny in this view. But if you look at it when it's here, then you can see that it looks a little bit better once it is in a larger size. And we can do this for all of them, but it's the same process. So I'm not going to bore you with that. Instead, I'm going to go to issue type schemas, and we're going to create the new issue type schema so we can connect this. So we're just going to create a new issue type schema. I'm going to name it, and this will be you can name this to whatever you want, as long as it makes sense and you can find it. Most Jira projects, most Jira instances tend to have a lot of these, since, especially if you create new projects without using a template, then each project will actually have their own schema. So if you have 100 projects, then you will have 100 schemas. So make sure that you name it so it's easy to find. And then we can write a description. Oh, so used to writing schema. There we go. Issue type scheme for like so. And as standard, you will see that on the left side is will be empty. These are the issue types that will actually connect to this scheme. And you also see that we cannot select anything in the default issue type because we don't have anything yet. So what we're going to do is we're just going to grab whatever we need from the left. It will show all the available tasks and subtasks, and we will drag it over to the right. So the first one we want to have is feature or epic. The second one we want to have is a story. And And we want to have the, what else do we want? We want the incident. We want the bug. We want to have the front end development. Let's just, let's take subtask as well. And when we have done this, we can then define what is the default issue type. And we can select story for now, just so we have one. So when you create a new task by clicking here or inside your project, it will automatically be the one that you have in default. And then you can select something else as usual. And now we can save this. And we will find it. And you see I have a few here. So it should be default. Let's see if I can find it again. Oh, it's on page 2, of course. There we have it. So for now, we have now created an issue type scheme, and we have defined what kind of issues we want to have in it. This one on its own will do absolutely nothing because we now need to connect it to a project. So if we go to our project and we go down to project settings and we go to summary, and now we have the schema is the demo comp. We click on that one, and up here in the right corner, you will have an actions button. You can either edit the current scheme that you have, or you can use a different one. And we want to use a different one. And in this long list now, we want to find the one that we just created. And then we will go OK. And then we will go through a migration step if we have different things than we had in the previous one. And now we had task, of course, because we didn't add that one. So now I can say that tasks in this new one will be story. And this one always comes up and you don't have to fill anything in. And there you go. Now you will get a summary of what we are going to do. So we are going to change the task to story and we will update the fields. And just finish. And this one will automatically refresh every 5 seconds or so, but you can click on refresh if you are impatient like me. And once it's done, you just click acknowledge and you will now have the new schema in your project. There we go. Now I can create all the other issue types and I can connect this to the issue type scheme and it will automatically then be added to this project. If you have an existing workflow that have different workflow, we're going to check that one out in the next video. But if you have that, then you will also be mapping the different statuses if you have different setup than you have in the current setup. But that's it for today. If you want to read more about what issue types we have and why we have them, I will link that Confluence page down below in the comments, so you can actually, or in the description rather, so you can actually go here and read. And we also have a discussion forum on Atlastic where you can go and discuss if you have opinions or if you have a setup where you want advice on how you should create your issue types. We also have on Atlastic a, maybe I can show you rather than tell you. So here you also have in the resources section, we have download section. So if you don't have the icons or you want to have some new icons, you can actually download them here for free. So you have a set, 3 sets, 2 sets of icons and 1 with priorities that you can download if you want to use them. So that was it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope to get some feedback on this video. So you can tell me if you liked it or not. And then in the next video, we're going to look at workflows. So until then, have a great day.